Rhodes Furniture. The best prices and financing, the only choice.
Tonight, the man in the middle of the 9/11 storm gives dramatic and damning testimony about the failures that led to the nation's worst terrorist attack. Complete coverage tonight of a growing controversy. Nation under God. He tells the Supreme Court why God should be out of the Pledge of Allegiance. The boy who was a bomb. Terrorists turned to children for suicide attacks. We have the inside story of this tragic scene caught on tape. And these kids today, how America's children stack up against those of 30 years ago.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
And good evening. Dan is off tonight. I'm John Roberts. It is on rare occasion that one could describe a hearing on Capitol Hill as electrifying, but today's was that and more. It was day 2 of public hearings by the commission investigating the September 11th attacks on America. And what Richard Clark had to say captivated all who heard it. The former counterterrorism aide who has bluntly accused President Bush of bungling the war on terror began by addressing the families of those who died on 9/11 with an admission and an apology.
Your government failed you. Those entrusted with protecting you failed you. And I failed you. We tried hard, but that doesn't matter because we failed. And for that failure, I would ask, once all the facts are out, for your understanding and for your forgiveness.
The content of Clark's apology clearly stirred a lot of emotions, but as Jim Stewart reports tonight, it was the substance of Clark's testimony that dominated today's hearing, and he pulled no punches, naming names and laying blame.
In an extraordinary day on Capitol Hill, the man formerly in charge of President Bush's counterterrorism program raised his hand, swore an oath, and with the first question from the 9/11 Commission, knocked the White House on its heels.
How high a priority was fighting al-Qaeda in the Bush administration?
I believe the Bush administration in the first 8 months considered terrorism an important issue, but not an urgent issue.
And Richard Clark went on to say that although he made repeated requests, he was never asked, even once during those 8 months, to brief the president on terrorism, and that a cabinet-level principals committee didn't meet until the week before 9/11 to discuss a counterterrorism program.
Well, is that 8-month period unusual?
It is unusual when you are being told every day that there is an urgent threat. I tried to insert the phrase early in the Bush administration that our goal should be to eliminate al-Qaeda. And I was told by various members of the Deputies Committee that that was overly ambitious.
Few people have as many credentials to level such charges. Clark's counterterrorism service began under the first President Bush, spanned all the Clinton years, and he was one of only a handful of professional policymakers kept on by President George Bush when he took office. Yet as intelligence of another massive al-Qaeda attack grew during the summer of 2001, Clark said the closest he could get to the president was a question relayed for Mr. Bush through National Security Advisor Condoleezza Rice, wanting to know what plans he had to deal with the terrorist.
And I said, well, we've had this strategy ready since before you were inaugurated. I showed it to you. You have the paperwork. We can have a meeting on the strategy anytime you want. As far as I know, the president never asked again.
Some skeptical commission members wondered if Clark wasn't just trying to sell his book and auditioning for a job in a future Democratic administration. Hardly, he replied.
Last time I had to declare my party loyalty, I asked for a Republican ballot. I worked for Ronald Reagan with you.
He left, Clark said, because he worried no one shared his fears.
I thought if the administration doesn't believe its national coordinator for counterterrorism when he says there's an urgent problem, and if it's unprepared to act as though there's an urgent problem, then probably I should get another job.
He ended his testimony on a note of stark reality, however. Even if the Bush administration had acted immediately on all of his recommendations, Clark believes the plan and the men were in place and 9/11 would have happened anyway.
John.
Jim Stewart reporting tonight live from our Washington bureau. Jim, thanks. In response today, President Bush's top aides tried harder than ever to refute Clark's criticism and leveled charges of their own against him. Bill Plant has more on the revved-up White House reaction and its strategy for countering Clark.
The Bush White House remains in crisis mode over Richard Clark's charges and again sent top officials to deny that the administration ignored the terrorist threat and to accuse Clark of changing his story to sell his book.
What he is reporting does not reflect the reality that I know to be true. And I spend a lot of time with the president. I've been in almost every one of his intelligence briefings. And what he alleges is not the fact.
Continuing its strenuous efforts to counter Clark's charges, the administration today alerted reporters to a telephone briefing which Clark offered in August 2002. Responding to a Time magazine report that the Bush administration did not treat terrorism as a top priority before 9/11, Clark painted a decidedly upbeat picture to journalists, including this reporter. A transcript of that phone call, read by the press secretary today, shows Clark saying that the administration had vigorously pursued the Clinton White House's concern with al-Qaeda, increasing money for covert action and moving within months to do so.
This shatters the cornerstone of Mr. Clark's assertions.
Confronted with that positive assessment today, Clark told the 9/11 Commission that what he said wasn't untrue, that it was a matter of tone.
I was asked to highlight the positive aspects of what the administration had done and to minimize the negative aspects of what the administration had done.
And Clark rejected the suggestion that his shift from defender of the White House to accuser represented a different standard of morality.
I don't think it's a question of morality at all. I think it's a question of politics.
National Security Advisor Condoleezza Rice, in an off-camera briefing, called some of Clark's remarks arrogant in the extreme. The White House is not allowing Rice to testify in public before the commission, which caused some family members to walk out in protest.
We had hoped that in light of 3,000 people being murdered on homeland soil, that she would want to set a moral precedent.
Late today, the White House released this memo from Clark to Rice, written 4 days after 9/11, designed to show that the White House had indeed warned law enforcement officers and agencies of an upcoming, possible, spectacular al-Qaeda attack. John?
Bill Plant live at the White House tonight. Bill, thanks. Also in Washington today, the U.S. Supreme Court heard arguments in a lawsuit seeking to alter the Pledge of Allegiance. This involves just 2 words. Under God. They were inserted into the pledge a half a century ago. And as Wyatt Andrews reports for us tonight, the court must now decide whether to remove them.
It stands one nation, under God.
How could the 2-word phrase, under God, violate the U.S. Constitution?
It was stuck in there for religious purposes.
Michael Newdow, an atheist from California who argued this himself, told the Supreme Court that under God is government-sponsored religion forced on his grade school daughter. I deny the existence of God, he told the court, and the issue is, can the government put that in my daughter's mind?
And this isn't God against no God. It's government getting involved in religion and government staying out of religion.
So help me God.
So help me God. Clearly, that's one tough argument in a nation whose leaders pray to God all the time. In a nation that added that phrase back in the 1950s.
So help me God.
When the threat of godless communism threatened the peace.
One nation, under God.
Hundreds of people lined up outside of the court in support of those 2 words, under God. In court, the government defended the phrase not as a prayer, but as a simple American tradition. Arguing for the Bush administration, Ted Olson called under God a ceremonial reminder of how the nation was founded. It's not religious. It's not prayer. It's invoking all those institutions that gave us freedom.
Just come right on up. How do you feel?
And then there's this. The girl's mother, who has custody, says the daughter is Christian and loves the pledge.
She was the first one to raise her hand to lead her class in reciting the pledge.
That led Olson to argue that Newdow has no right to bring this case in his daughter's name, and that gives the court a choice. It could toss this case completely or decide the central question. Do we establish a religion with a nation under God?
Of the United States of America.
Wyatt Andrews, CBS News, Washington.
They sat only feet apart today, together in a Colorado courtroom. Kobe Bryant and the woman who says he raped her. For 3 hours, she was questioned about her sex life. And even if the judge rules the evidence can't be used in a trial, Bill Whitaker reports Bryant's defense has to be pleased.
First past the cameras into the courtroom was Kobe Bryant. Then a glimpse of the woman who accuses him of rape. Accused and accuser in the same room again, this time for the most critical hearing in this rape case.
The prosecution has a case that's in trouble, and as a result of these hearings, even more evidence could come before the jury that shakes the credibility of the accuser.
The hearing is to determine whether details of the alleged victim's sex life will be admissible at trial. Despite Colorado's rape shield laws, which usually keep victims' sex lives off limits, the judge has agreed to hear more about the defense theory that her sexual past is relevant in this case. Her behavior has become tabloid fodder, but the most damning allegations have come from court filings. The defense claims there's evidence she had sex with 2 prosecution witnesses, had intercourse 2 days before and less than 15 hours after her encounter with Bryant. Allegations prosecutors call evil, others call irrelevant.
I do not believe that just in and of itself, the fact that a rape victim has sex after, and even in that shorter period of time after a sexual assault, is relevant to anything.
Yet, after the first hour of defense questioning, the young woman appeared shaken.
As difficult as this is, it's nothing compared to how bad it's going to be for her during the trial when the courtroom is packed and everyone is watching. And for the defense, it's a win-win because even if they lose this hearing, they've just gotten a free preview of her testimony.
Many court observers say the defense barrage has prosecutors under siege.
Whenever you see the defense on the offensive, you see a prosecution case that's unraveling.
Still, it's up to the judge whether a jury hears any of this. Bill Whitaker, CBS News, Eagle, Colorado.
Coming up on tonight's CBS Evening News, the young face of terror. Dramatic pictures of a Palestinian teenager wired to kill. Why are terrorist groups now using kids? We'll give you the inside story. And later, 15 years after the Exxon Valdez oil spill, why is the cleanup incomplete? And why are billions still owed to the people who suffered? Stay with us.
Night. It's when most of the world sleeps. A time to reset our clock so we can begin a new day. It's all part of the rhythm of life. But for many, this healthy cycle is disrupted because sleep doesn't always come easy. Fortunately, there's Ambien. Ambien is a prescription sleep aid that can help you get a full night's sleep. While natural sleep is best, Ambien helps you fall asleep fast, stay asleep longer, and wake rested and refreshed, not groggy the next morning. No wonder Ambien is the #1 prescribed sleep aid in America. Until you know how Ambien will affect you, you shouldn't drive or operate machinery. Side effects may include drowsiness, dizziness, and diarrhea. You shouldn't take it with alcohol. All people taking sleep medicines have some risk of becoming dependent on the medicine. Prescription sleep aids are most often taken for 7 to 10 days as needed. Your doctor will advise you about taking them longer. In most instances, memory problems can be avoided if you take Ambien only when you're able to get 7 to 8 hours sleep before you need to be active again. Talk to your doctor about Ambien and wake rested and ready to start your day. Ambien works like a dream.
Everyone's looking for that miracle cream. Mine's Excellence Hair Color from L'Oreal. My non-drip color protects non-stop with lots of conditioner for beautiful color and no grays. Excellence Cream from L'Oreal Paris, because you're worth it.
Cold pills. Could any of them start to work faster than Vapor Rub's cooling vapors? So you feel like you're breathing again? We don't think so.
For years, the kids have called me their guardian angel.
Brady?
When I got cancer and the chemo made me anemic and too weak to keep working, I had to do something. I asked my doctor about Procrit.
Procrit is for chemotherapy-related anemia in patients with most kinds of cancer. Procrit helps rebuild red blood cells, and more red blood cells can mean more strength. Procrit is proven and safe. In studies, only diarrhea and edema occurred more often with Procrit than placebo.
I'm back, and there's no stopping me.
Allergies used to take the fun out of games. Now, I'm Claritin Clear.
Up here, I gotta be alert. Claritin relieves my toughest symptoms without putting me in a fog.
Claritin Clear means non-drowsy 24-hour relief.
There's Clear, then there's Claritin Clear.
In the Middle East today, the new head of Hamas withdrew threats to attack the United States, but he vowed to kill Israeli Prime Minister Ariel Sharon in revenge for the assassination of the militant group's founder. Also today, Israeli soldiers faced a very young suicide bomber who may not have understood what he was doing. David Hawkins has the dramatic inside story.
He's 14 years old, but has the mind of a child, says his family. Hussam Abdo told the soldiers who caught him that someone promised to pay his mother $23 if he'd put on a suicide bomber's vest and go kill Israelis. Alert soldiers manning a checkpoint near Nablus, Abdo's West Bank hometown, noticed he was wearing something bulky underneath his shirt. They took cover and forced him to disarm, then sent a yellow robot with a pair of scissors so he could cut away the explosives. It's not the first time Palestinian terrorist groups have used young teenagers as suicide bombers, but the depraved practice has become more and more common as Israeli security has become tighter and tighter, making it more difficult for the usual suspects to get through.
We are still trying to find out who sent this boy and why they did it. Naturally, this is a monstrous doings of evil people.
At the same place last week, soldiers stopped a 12-year-old Palestinian boy smuggling explosives. He claimed he'd been paid to carry a package through the checkpoint and had no idea what was in it. The Israelis believed him, disposed of the bomb, and let him go. The Israelis highlight these cases to demonstrate just what they're up against. Many, if not most Palestinians, are also shocked by the use of children by terrorists, but they try to put it in context.
As long as the intifada is going on, as long as the incidents are escalating, we will have children who are ready to become martyrs, who are ready to become suicide bombers.
Hussam Abdo got ready for today by getting his hair cut the way his mother likes it. He may not have fully understood just what he was about to do, but now at least he'll live to see her again. David Hawkins, CBS News, Tel Aviv.
A judge in Spain today charged 2 more Moroccan suspects in this month's terrorist train bombings. 11 suspects are now in custody. And at a state funeral today in a Madrid cathedral, Spain's King Juan Carlos and Queen Sofia comforted relatives of the 190 bombing victims. Secretary of State Colin Powell represented the United States. Next up on the CBS Evening News, where's the money? Exxon still owes billions to people in Alaska 15 years after the Exxon Valdez oil spill. So what's going on? Stay tuned.
To play the blues, you have to understand pain.
Less pain, less blood. On your fingers or your arm. One Touch Ultra. Results in 5 seconds.
You want to feel it here, not here.
One Touch Ultra.
It's different for people with acid reflux disease because you know the heartburn's gonna nail you. And over time, all that acid could rip at your esophagus. Next time, Nexium, the healing purple pill. For many, 1 prescription Nexium daily not only gets rid of heartburn, more importantly, it also heals acid reflux erosions. And healing is such a great feeling. Other serious stomach conditions may still exist. Talk to your doctor. The most common side effects of Nexium are headache, diarrhea, and abdominal pain. Don't let acid reflux eat at you. Next time, ask your doctor about Nexium.
I'll take that.
Because healing is such a great feeling.
Gesundheit. We're sorry you've got allergies. Maybe we can help. Medical studies prove Benadryl is more effective than the leading prescription allergy medicine. Histamine-blocking Benadryl is more effective at relieving allergy symptoms like runny nose, sneezing, itchy nose, and watery eyes. When allergies bloom, Benadryl's more effective than the leading prescription allergy medicine.
This is Model T20. He has cancer. This is Curious 901. She has cancer too. This is Malcolm W. His wife has cancer. This is the Cancer Survivors Network, a place where people can get together online to share information, get support, and get hope. This is the American Cancer Society. This is where to go for help.
At Flooring America, we know there are times in life when a new floor is like a new beginning. So if your time is now, we're ready.
ready to lead you through the whole flooring experience. We're experts in flooring, design, even installation. Whether your dream is Stainmaster carpets, ceramic tile, durable laminate, or a classic vinyl floor, we'll be there with advice at a great low price. We're Flooring America, and we're in Nashville, Murfreesboro, Clarksville, and Winchester.
This helicopter pilot saved Vietnamese civilians from certain death during the war. Why has it taken so long to reward his bravery? Tomorrow on the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
On the CBS Market Watch, new home sales jumped sharply last month. The 5.8% rise was the strongest showing for the new home market since last June. This is partly due to continued low mortgage rates. Last week's average for 30-year fixed mortgages was just 5.38%. On Wall Street, a mixed day today. The Dow was down, the Nasdaq was up. It was the worst oil spill in U.S. history, one that drew wide condemnation for a corporate polluter. Yet 15 years after the Exxon Valdez fouled waters, killed wildlife, and ruined livelihoods in one of Alaska's most beautiful areas, penalties are unpaid and ugly stains remain. Why is this so? John Blackstone did some digging.
In Prince William Sound, the rocky beach on the Bay of Isles looks as wild and pure as anywhere in the Alaskan wilderness. But on this beach, biologist Rick Steiner can turn over a stone and still turn up oil from the Exxon Valdez.
It's more toxic, actually, in some ways than when it first came out of the tanker because it's more concentrated.
But 15 years later, the company responsible for the spill is thriving. Exxon made more money than any company on Earth last year, $21 billion.
Exxon's the biggest oil company in the world. It's the most profitable company in the world. They're extremely good at what they do, which is finding oil and gas.
Exxon's merger in 1999 with Mobil means two of the biggest gasoline names now pump profits to one company, $74 billion since the merger. Fortune magazine just named Exxon one of the world's most admired companies. Still, not enough to erase the memory of the Exxon Valdez.
No matter how successful they are financially, this is something that they're always going to wear around their neck. It will be a ring around their collar, if you will.
Many of the fishermen on Prince William Sound are still fighting Exxon. 10 years ago, a jury ordered Exxon to pay what now amounts to $6.5 billion for damaging the fishing industry. While many fishermen have gone bankrupt in the years since, the world's most profitable company still hasn't paid a penny, keeping the case tied up in appeals. Exxon says fishermen were compensated at the time of the spill and insists the remaining oil is not hurting the environment.
Quite frankly, we're not at all surprised that the oil is still there. In many ways, that's a good sign. That shows the oil hasn't migrated out and had the potential to do damage.
But other studies show wildlife is still suffering lingering effects from the oil.
The ecosystem hasn't recovered, no matter what Exxon says.
So Exxon remains the oil company environmentalists love to hate. But Exxon has another reputation to safeguard, its reputation as the most profitable company on Earth. John Blackstone, CBS News, San Francisco.
And still to come on tonight's CBS Evening News, a report card on the health and well-being of America's children. Have things improved for them over the past 30 years? Some eye-opening answers coming your way next.
With Dulcolax laxative, you can relax. It works gently enough for sensitive stomachs, yet provides complete relief. More doctors recommend Dulcolax than any other overnight laxative. Relax. Trust Dulcolax for overnight relief guaranteed.
millions of adults with high cholesterol, diet and exercise aren't always enough. But adding Lipitor can help lower your total cholesterol 29 to 45%. Lipitor is not for everyone, including people with liver problems and women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant. Simple blood tests are needed to check for liver problems. Tell your doctor about other medications you are taking, or if you experience muscle pain or weakness, as they may be a sign of a serious side effect. So take the next step. Ask your doctor if Lipitor is right for you.
Are you living with mild or moderate eczema? Well, when you and your doctor find out their treatments aren't right for you, there's concern about their risks, or you simply can't tolerate them, maybe I can help. My name is Elidel. I'm steroid-free. Use me for repeated courses as directed by your doctor, even on children as young as 2. You see, I'm tough, and I can go anywhere on skin, including your face. I target the key cells involved with eczema, right at the site of the problem. High five. Sorry.
There is no cure for eczema, but Elidel significantly relieves the itching and redness. The most common side effects are a feeling of warmth or burning where applied, headaches, cold-like symptoms such as sore throat and cough, and rarely viral skin infections. You should also protect your skin from the sun and sun lamps.
So if you're living with mild or moderate eczema, ask your doctor if I'm right for you. Elidel. Fight eczema right where it starts.
Same-sex marriages are illegal in Tennessee, but would state lawmakers vote to ban civil unions too? A major showdown today on Capitol Hill. The story is next.
We end tonight with a first-of-a-kind comparison study of America's children, then and now, the most comprehensive ever done. CBS News medical correspondent Elizabeth Caledon has the results of the new research about whether the kids are all right.
Every student gets a report card, but the nation has never graded its children as a group before. The first ever Child Well-Being Index attempts to do just that.
We have not had a way, really, to regularly pay attention to how our children are doing.
Just like the Consumer Price Index, which measures economic health, the Child Well-Being Index takes the pulse of the youngest Americans. The first report charts progress over the last 30 years, measuring health, education, safety, even relationships and happiness. The result is a mixed picture, with American children only marginally better off today than they were back in 1975. Child advocates say that means one simple thing.
It definitely says that our country can do better.
Infant mortality and teen pregnancy are way down. Children are much safer from crime and violence. But suicide is up, and the health of American children has taken a nosedive. Obesity, it turns out, is the biggest single threat to children today. It's an issue 15-year-old Alfred Marrero has wrestled with for years and desperately wants to change.
I want to be a normal kid.
New moms like Tyler Dewar are shocked that obesity is such a big problem.
That really worries me, yes, absolutely. That's just appalling.
Raising just this kind of concern is the whole point of the index.
This index will cause some public awareness to the children's issues, which will then hopefully transform into activity. Society that doesn't take care of its children is not a very civilized society.
Improvements are likely to take years, but the idea is that this is the face of the future, and we need to remember to treat our children well. Elizabeth Caledon, CBS News, New York.
And that's our report for this Wednesday evening. For Dan Rather and the CBS Evening News, I'm John Roberts in New York. Thanks for choosing CBS News. Have a good night.
For news 24 hours a day, click on CBSNews.com. Brought to you in part by Walmart, where you can find everything you and your family need at everyday low prices. Walmart, always low prices, always. He rescued civilians in Vietnam. Why it took so long to reward him. Tomorrow, experience CBS News.
Straight ahead on News Channel 5 at 6, it's been almost 6 months since the deadly fire at the NHC nursing home in Nashville. Tonight, new information about the investigation into what caused it.
This is a civil discussion, not a religious one.
Live in sin.
This is a civil discussion, sir,
now
not a
you're going to
religious
do
one.
it in the public eye. That's
Sir,
not
we want our
right.
rights.
And an emotional debate today on Capitol Hill. You saw it as state lawmakers take up the issue of civil unions. The news is now.
From your news and information leader. This is News Channel 5 at 6.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Scott Couch. Chris is off tonight. Topping our news tomorrow marks the 6-month anniversary of the deadly NHC nursing home fire.
And after all this time, the cause of the fire remains a mystery. Investigators have been focusing on a bed, and now test results on that bed are back. News Channel 5's Joe Fryer is outside the Nashville Fire Department headquarters. Joe, what did the test show?
Well, Vicki, the fire department got those test results just today, and according to those results, the bed did not start the fire. Now, right now, we want to show you some pictures of the bed that were taken during the testing process.